Meeple Nation Podcast, episode 581, Open Drafting Games.
Welcome, citizens, to Meeple Nation. Grab your favorite beverage, pull up a chair, warm up those dice, and join us at the game table as we discuss board games and the board gaming world. Each week, the hosts of Meeple Nation share their love for board games and the amazing memories that come from playing games with some very outstanding people. Let us now join our hosts in their natural habitat, the game table.
This week, we're going to kick off our discussion of open drafting games. We're just going to line up a bunch of different games and choose some to discuss, and we're going to have a ton of fun doing it.
All right. Well, super excited to be diving into some open drafting games today. But first, we are the hosts of Meeple Nation. I am Douglas Stewart.
I'm Nathan Howard.
And I am Andy Holiday.
And when our powers combine, we do indeed become the world's most Okayest podcast. And we do have the world's most Okayest website for your very much enjoyment. So go check it out at meeplenation.com, where you can find all of our episodes, learn more about us, check out links to the social. It is just the social to the socials. You can also click that Patreon link. We are always so appreciative of our patrons. Thank you so much. So go check that out there as well. We also have links there to our sidecast, the SaltPOD, podcast all about SaltCON. So check all that out at meeplenation.com. And while you're at it, drop us a line at meeplenation@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you.
Meeple Nation Podcast is sponsored by GameToppersLLC.com. They make a grazing products.
Seriously, graze all day. The grass is not greener on the other side.
No, it
graze
is greener. It is greenest at, I'm just going to stop. Game Toppers are good. Green.
Game Toppers good. Ooh.
Oh, good. Good. They have amazing products. Upgrade every night, every game night with a Game Topper, and you will not regret that purchase whatsoever. So go check them out, GameToppersLLC.com.
All right. Hey, is that my alarm?
You know, I thought I heard something.
Yeah, that's
I
it.
should silence mine just since you brought that up, so thank you.
That's a great idea. You know, Highlight 30 is, I would say, one of the highlights of the episode.
Let's see what you did there.
Yeah.
I approve of what you did there.
So, what have you guys been playing?
Well, today we're going to share a highlight because we got the opportunity to play Doomlings. And this is a game that wasn't necessarily on our radar, but we did have the fine folks at Doomlings LLC reach out and asked if we would try their game and tell everybody what we thought about their game. So first I shot back and said, well, it's not necessarily one of our go-to game mechanics because it does have very much the take that element of the game, but this is a very short game. And so the take that doesn't make you feel like you spent hours into this and then you just get zoinked. If you know that this is a game of war going into it, it is take it for what it is. And Doomlings is not a bad game at all. I rather enjoyed it for the simple little game that it is.
You know, as you said, Nathan, take that is not typically our cup of tea.
Yes.
That being said, I think they did it in a way that is very palatable.
Yeah.
Because there are several games that have take that elements in them that I really enjoy. Dominion, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy games like that that are, if you have a take that element, the DC Deck Builder is another similar one. I love that game, even with the take that in it. But there's no way to gang up on players. Like when you play a card that is going to have a negative effect, it affects everyone. So there's no targeting. That's my biggest beef with a lot of the take that games is it's really easy for, this player's ahead. Everybody gangs up on that one person, right? Which is really very disheartening for someone who was doing well. It makes you want to not do well at all until one person basically gets shattered and then you jump in and start doing awesome.
Yeah.
So as far as the take that goes, I thought there was plenty of other things to do that weren't take that, but the take that elements were not detrimental and it affected everyone equally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was some that, I mean, you could target
cards, specific colors, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. But the overall effects were to affect everybody.
Correct.
Yeah, and so I like that as well. The art on this is a very colorful box and very colorful art, and this is one of those games where the designer Justin Meyer is also the artist. So Justin put a lot of love and work into this game, and it's very nice. The art is very colorful, very fun, and the little sayings on the little flavor text on it provides a nice touch. But again, this game, 20 to 45 minutes. You can play over 12 rounds maximum, and it goes up to 6 players, which kind of, air quotes, put it in almost into that party game feel. But this is a great game. No?
It was way more fun than that.
It was way more fun than a party game. But this does a game that is great for teaching introducing new gamers to it, right? And this grabs a lot of those classic elements and brings it to a game with a very vibrant box and very vibrant color. And a game that, I mean, I've played a few times now with different people. The 3 of us sat down and played it right before the podcast so that we could have it fresh in our mind as we talk about it. And I thought it was great. I think it was something that Andy, I think your son, Caden would like it. I think even Amara would like it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think this is something that Brigham and Seth would even like. And I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that my daughter and her boyfriend and my wife will enjoy playing this game as well. And so I'm anxious to get it to the table with them. And if we have a chance when we're all together again, that we can make that happen. I'm going to totally bring that to the table. So what did you guys think of it?
I think it'd be interesting to play at a higher player count. There are some set collecting elements into that.
Yeah.
I think it would be higher or more difficult maybe to do that with a higher player count. Maybe not. I don't know. I think as far as that set collection stuff, it would be nice if there was a market that you could draft from rather than just whatever you have in your hand. And maybe ways to discard cards that you don't want so you can get more cards in your hand. I don't know. Something like that to where you can build around the strategy you're going for because you're just basically a slave to whatever you draw.
Right.
But otherwise, there's a lot of different combos that you can do, different ways to score points. So as far as that goes, I thought it was great.
Yeah. And just to announce that we did play with just the base copy. There are several expansions that are out there that may address some of those issues that we didn't have the access to. So, but yeah, that's something, if it's not done now, could be Justin could include that in his further development of the game.
Nice. Yeah.
What did you think of it, Douglas?
Yeah, I actually was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. For being the type of game that I'm not typically drawn to, I was pleasantly surprised. And for what this game is, this is totally a game. Just go play it. Just go check it out and play it. That's the big thing I would just recommend. I mean, you're going to be into it, 15 minutes. You play with a couple friends. I mean, you taught it and we played it in under 20 minutes. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, this isn't going to take a lot of your time or whatever. And I was surprised. I was surprised because it had some, like Andy was saying, it had some fun, I think, set collection, and it had some end game scoring engine building that was going on, right? There's, if you like tableau building, that's what this game is. You're creating a tableau of traits, and and so it was fine. It was good, and yeah, it had the take that elements, and you could maybe have some of those traits taken, or you could have some of your cards taken, or you could have certain cards be made to be worth fewer points, or whatever it is, So sure, yeah, it has that element in it, but I still thought that it was highly enjoyable. I didn't mind. I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was actually pretty fun.
Yeah, so I would recommend it, especially to newer gamers or younger gamers. It would be perfect to pick up and play. Plays up to 6 players, and that time, I mean, we played in that teach and play in under 20 minutes. And I think the higher player count you're going to get, there's going to be more turns going around the table. Not more turns in the game, not more rounds, but more people taking their turns. So that will expand that play time.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah.
But a round is literally just everybody playing a card.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is. So even if it goes to its full round length at full player count, I mean, unless you've really got somebody who's got analysis paralysis, but this isn't a game like this doesn't warrant that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you really shouldn't have anybody who's hoeing and humming about their cards when it gets to their turn.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think this is a great, quick paced, fun little game.
Yeah. It's very snappy.
Though we haven't played it with 2 players, I would be interested in trying it 2 players. I think, this is my personal opinion, but I think its strength would be a filler game.
Yeah.
A 2-player filler game, 3-player filler game, I can imagine 2 people sitting down who've played it before and are familiar with the game. 5-10 minutes, you could probably have this game played.
Yeah.
And so you could do a couple of rounds of that, and while you're waiting for the other table to finish up. But yeah, I mean, as easy as it is, yet it still has a little bit of crunchiness to it. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, every game I've played has been 3 players, so I haven't. I'm focused in on that 3 players.
We really need to broaden your horizons.
I do.
Bit.
Yeah.
We need to either give you some more friends, or we need to. Someone's got to go.
Someone's got to go.
I volunteer as tribute. Oh wait.
No, this is something I can totally get to play 2 players with my wife, and we'll see if she likes it. She very much shies away from that. Take that, but I think if she takes it for what it is, I think we can have some fun with this game. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to trying it as 2 players, and I'm also looking forward to trying it at a high player count too. But anyways, that was Doomlings. And so I think that kind of wraps up all of us. And we'd love to thank the folks at Doomlings LLC for sending us this copy. And we recommend it. It's a good game. All right. With that, let us transition to open drafting games. So in open drafting games is a specific type of drafting where players take turns selecting items such as cards, tiles, dice, tokens from a shared visible pool of options. The shared pool there is in a central display. The visibility is to all players so that they can see all things at all the times. All things at all the times. Yeah, that works. And so then it is also turn-based selection. So I'm going to draft something, then Andy's going to draft something, then Doug's going to draft something. So because everybody can see, it's easily provides that opportunity for some counter drafting, which is a strategic advantage, as well as seeing what hopefully could be a possible strategy for you and adapting to what you have in your hand as opposed to what is available. And so how does open drafting differ from other types of drafting? Closed drafting, typically players are going to receive a card, are going to receive stuff. That information is hidden. They're going to pull something out and send it. Where this is open drafting, it is all out there. The market is on full display. And so that's it. So taking those key points, let us go in to our list of games. And oddly enough, this is a game that we all had an extensive amount of open drafting games. So I don't know if it's necessarily a mechanic that we drive after, but it was definitely a mechanic that we all own.
Yeah, a substantial number of games for.
Yeah. So Andy, why don't you kick us off? What you got?
Well, so these are quite a few. These are games that we have talked about before, but I'm going to start with one of Nathan's favorite games.
Oh, boy.
And that's Alchemist.
Oh.
Oh.
That one.
So Alchemist is a deduction game where you are trying to figure out the traits of all of the different ingredient cards or the types of ingredients throughout the game. And during the game, you're going to draft. There are actually several things you draft. There are cards. Well, I guess the main thing you're drafting are ingredient cards. So it's worker placement with the open draft of ingredients. There are also where you can draft artifacts, and you can also draft your I can't remember the name of them, but they're essentially your influence cards that you can play to gain specific benefits, whatever the card says in the game. There are 2 of those available. There are typically going to be 3 of the artifacts available each round, and then you have a row of 5 ingredient cards. I love this game. Nathan, I know this is one that we really need to play with you. I've never seen you get so angry at a deduction game ever in my life.
I don't know if angry. No, I guess angry is probably the right word, because it was angry because I just couldn't see it. I wasn't seeing the elements, and I wasn't seeing what I wasn't grasping what I needed to do and what was going to give me. So yeah, I think you're totally right. I do need to get this played maybe 2 or 3 more times.
Yeah.
So that I can, and not 2 years apart.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
2 or 3 times within a short time, and maybe tickle my tummy or something first to get me in the mood to play it.
I can do that.
Sounds great. And yeah, to get me into a festive mood, I guess, to be able to.
So what are pink frosting sugar cookies from Crumble and play Alchemist? That's what we need to have happen.
Maybe. That's a good start. That's a good start.
Anyway, yeah, so I love this game. The drafting's kind of fun. It can really make or break your game depending on those ingredient cards. There's certain ones that you really want to get, and you get to pick your turn order at the beginning of every round. And so choosing that, like the lower you are in the round as far as player order, the better benefits you're going to get. But you do get to choose and draft cards last, or you test your potions last. You're going to all of those actions. You actually are second, third, or fourth, depending on player count and where you end up in the turn order. So yeah, it's one of those where drafting cards can make or break your game, depending on what strategy you're going for, or how lucky you get with just blind draws.
Yeah. All right, Douglas, what do you got?
Well, okay, so I'm looking over the list here, and I'm also kind of reading through our open drafting statement here just a little bit. And I think, for me, I think that there is a lot of overlap between open drafting games and what I would just consider to be market games.
Yeah.
Right? So you talk about the attributes of an open market or of an open drafting game. And, you've got your shared pool. It's visible to all players. Turn-based selection, strategic interaction, and interactions that include hate drafting, anticipation, and adaptation. I believe that definition fits a market game too. And so when we talk about market games, when, eventually, or whenever that, conversation rolls around, I think you're looking at a lot of overlap. And I do think it's important to note, like for, maybe for some listeners who are scratching their heads, I think that it's fair to say that ton of overlap between what would essentially be an open draft and a game that has a market, right? Because you typically are open drafting from a market. You are drafting those cards or taking those cards from some sort of market space. But it doesn't always have to be a market. Sometimes the pieces, they come and go, or they shift in different ways, that kind of thing. So those are all just kind of thoughts that are sitting here racing through my head as I'm talking, as we're thinking about this open drafting mechanism. One that I really enjoy that I'll just bring up here really quick: Land versus Sea. I know this is one that you and I have played together, Nathan. I don't know if you've played this one, Andy.
I have not.
My wife really likes this one, so it's one that gets played at my house on a fairly regular basis. So basically, you have a bunch of tiles, and they all have land and sea components to them. And you just take turns. It's a 2-player game. One player plays the land and one player plays the sea. And you basically just take a tile and you play it out in such a way that you are trying to maximize the number of points that you score by completing areas of either land or sea and or features that are associated with it, right? And I think what I really like about this one and why this one makes my radar, the thing that makes it kind of unique in that draft portion, you have a couple stacks of cards, or of tiles, I should say. They're the hex tiles that are sitting out there, and each tile is double-sided. And so some information is revealed. You know what is on one side of the tiles that are revealed, but you don't know what's on the back side. And so when you go to draft, you are going into it with partial information. And I do really like that about this game. You never know, right? Like it's like, oh, I don't know if I like both of these options. I'm going to pick this one and, look at the back. And you just never know. Or you have a perfect piece that's sitting up there on front and you go to draft it, you take it and flip it over and you're like, oh, hang on. This totally changes everything. Like if I played this instead, it would open up this avenue where I could do something totally different. And so I really like how, you have that anticipation of drafting because you're definitely trying to outdraft each other for some of those tiles, but you also have the sort of the on the fly changes that take place as you look at the other side of those tiles and think about the possibilities there as well. So yeah. I think it's a great one. And for people out there who enjoy 2-player games, if you haven't checked out Land versus Sea, there's really a lot there to explore. It's a fun game.
Yeah, I've enjoyed my plays of it, and this is one that I tried to get my wife to play. We played it a couple of times, and it just didn't
quite hit.
I was going to say float or boat, but then I thought that was just too cheesy to say, so I didn't say it.
Well, good thing you didn't say that.
Yeah. But no, it just wasn't something that that she really liked, which I was kind of surprised.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a lot of elements that we play in games that we do really like. I was really hoping, because there is a level of strategy there's not the level of strategy. There is strategy in what you're going to draft and how you're going to use it, and you're going to try to do some of those counter drafts sometimes. But ideally what you want to progress is your stuff. And so I liked the game, and I think she should like it. But for some reason I can't make her like a game. So
You'll figure it out eventually.
I'll figure it out. Yeah.
I know it.
Maybe if I could find a pink sugar cookie for her.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
It has a really cool mechanism where you have there's a certain symbol. I can't remember if there's stars or there's something now that I can't, whirlpools and something, or I don't remember. There's some symbols on those tiles. And if you are the one to complete like if I'm playing the land and I complete a water feature, for my opponent, I still get to score all those symbols.
Yeah.
Even though they get all the points for the tiles.
Yeah.
And so actually strategically, there's really some interesting things that this game does. There's also some additional symbols that you can use that change up how and when you play tiles. And there's actually some pretty cool, like built into the game, like that just comes built in with those symbols. There's some kind of modules that you can opt in or out of as you choose, and turn it into quite a crunchy experience if you really want it to be.
Yeah.
So this game has a lot to offer.
And maybe that's what it was, is it got a little too crunchy. But
Well, I definitely recommend playing it on simple version first. Just play the base stuff first.
You're just getting, I don't know if it's just that you're getting old.
I definitely am doing
and
that.
I just can't handle the extra crunchiness from expansions and everything else. But my goodness, Nathan.
Well, to be fair, in this case, he is talking about Cheryl.
Yeah. Yeah. Take that all back, Andy.
I never.
No, don't take it back. We don't need to talk about Wingspan, but
No. So I really like, and this is the whole series of games, but the whole series of Azul games. So you have the Azul Duel, Stained Glass of Sintra, Summer Pavilion, and the Queen's Garden. I love all of these. Have a very similar mechanic, a very similar open draft, where like in the original version of Azul, you have the factories that have tiles on them, and the stained glass, you have similar pools of glass pieces and flowers and tiles in the Queen's Garden. I can't remember. I've only played the Queen's Garden once. I can't remember what the tiles are in there, but just even playing the regular Azul, you're trying to make that mosaic tile work, and you're getting those pieces to put that in there so that you can complete and score points off of your completed project. What I really like about Azul, though, is that you can take pieces, and those pieces are removed and put onto your board, but you can only take pieces of a particular color. So if I'm taking from an open spot, I'm taking 2 tiles, then the other 2 tiles are going to go to the middle of the board, which then eventually somebody can start drafting out of the middle of the board. The first player to take from the middle of the board does take a -1 penalty, but then that opens up the floodgates for people grabbing stuff out of the middle, because a lot of the times you're going to be gathering stuff out of the outside because there's multiples of the same color, or colors that complete a row for you. And it's a very simple processing game. But then as you can play the game, you find that there's a level of complexity there that is that crunchiness that makes that game so much better than just a simple tile placing game. And Azul Duel, which is the newest version, which tries to take that base game and makes it into a 2-player game, but makes that game drastically different than just a 2-player game of Azul. Because I remember when this first was announced, Doug, you and I had the conversation of, is this really necessary? I mean, Azul is a great 2-player game.
Right.
So why do we need Azul Duel? Well, Azul Duel is played very, very much different and provides a whole layer of crunchiness that I think it takes the regular Azul and makes it a much more gamier game. You're still doing sort of the same pattern, but there are elements in there that you can have reserve tokens that you can match up to fill a spot and try to manipulate what you have on your board. And you have to build your board where you're going to put your patterns out. So much more that advances the whole play of a Sewell with a Sewell duel that you would think it would be a simple 2-player version. It is not. It's an outstanding version of that. And then you tiptoe around the Queen's Garden, which is the heaviest of the Sewell games. And it's been forever since I've played it, so I can't remember too much of it. But that Queen's Garden very much made that Sewell gaming experience a lot more heavy, a lot more gamery, a lot more fun. Not to say that the others aren't fun, because the others are very fun. Yeah. But it provides that challenge that, I can play a Sewell. I can play a Sewell any day of the week. But if I'm wanting to have a challenge, I'm going to enjoy and step into that Queen's Garden and pick up that pace. So
I agree. Yep, for sure.
Who's got next?
We played actually just a few days ago one of these on the list. And it's a newer game. This is a Kickstarter that both Doug and I have received just this year, and it has a dice drafting element to it, which is essentially the main part of the game. And this is Storm Raiders. This is such a great game. I'm actually hosting this at SaltCON this year, and so we had to do a couple of playthroughs just to make sure that I'm up on the rules and can teach it successfully without any sort of hiccups during SaltCON. So it was obviously great to get this to the table. But Storm Raiders, you have a pool of dice in the center of the board, and everyone has a dashboard that's in front of you that represents your players, your Storm Raider, and then your 3 vehicles, your trike, your plane, and your submarine that you're going to use to move around the board. And you're going to draft a die on your turn. Now those dice are 6-sided dice, and pips range from 1 to 6. And when you place that die, it must be whichever you're going to place it on one of your vehicles. So your trike, on your plane, or on your submarine. And the rule with that is it has to be higher than the previous die that you've placed on that track already. You can also use the die to rest, which has some other more nuance to it on how high or low you want that die to be. But when you place it on one of your vehicles, it has to be higher, and that's going to determine how much movement you have. So there's a lot of planning and wanting certain dice with certain pips as you're playing the game, because as you rest, you have an option of maybe pulling some dice off. So the dice, as you take damage, they're going to stack up coming from the opposite side of your vehicle tracks, and it'll just take up more slots. When you rest, if you have a high die, you're going to take more damage off. If you have a lower die, you get to take more of your dice that you used for taking actions off of your board. Anyway, I love the nuance between it. I love how the drafting works on that and how different. It's not always beneficial to take the low die or the high die. It really depends on what you're trying to do for that round. And sometimes you get stuck with a specific die that you don't really want, and you're forced to maybe throw a high die where you don't want to, or you're forced to rest because you don't have a spot for a low die to go on your board. At the end of the round, this is kind of cool, there's a storm on the board that's going to move around. There's going to be 1 die left in the pool at the end of the round. That die, whatever the pip value is going to determine how far that storm moves on the board. And if you get caught in the storm, that's damage to every single vehicle, 1 damage to all 3 of your vehicles. The game is great. It's a pickup and delivery game, but the drafting in this is an integral part that you are going to be doing, and has definitely a layer of strategy involved. And before you start drafting your first die, you get 2 dice you get to draft 2 dice per round. Before you start drafting, you want to see what's out there and hope that you can get both dice that you want, and kind of plan ahead and by looking at what you have and what you need and what everybody else is probably going to take. So it's a great game, Storm Raiders. We've played it several times, and I think all of us have had just a ton of fun with this one.
Yeah, I really like this game. I did poorly at it, and I would love to play this again.
I think there's video or photographic evidence of you doing poorly at this game.
You know what? There is. In fact, if you watch the video episodes, there's the 3 of us that are sitting there, and you 2 are all happy, and I have my grumpy face on.
You do, yeah.
That's because I had just lost Storm Raiders.
Maybe it's because you didn't know how to pronounce it.
It could be. But then I would not like anything because I can't pronounce anything.
Maybe it's because you were a Storm Rider instead of a Storm Raider.
totally could be it. Total misunderstanding of the game. That explains so much now.
Mystery solved. That is awesome. Okay, another one that I wanted to bring up and mention, Res Arcana. Nate, this is one that I know you have some mixed feelings on because you say that you struggle with it and don't like it, and then you always want to play it and invite people to games on BGA.
I think I said I have changed my tune on
good.
Res Arcana.
Good. Now, Res Arcana is great. So not only does this have sort of a beginning of the game draft, like a traditional draft, where you are going to draft all of the cards that sort of form your personal market or your personal, card pile, I guess I should say. But as the game is played, you have your places of power and your artifacts and your scrolls and your monuments that are all out there as well. And just that whole process of trying to build a quick, point scoring engine out of what's in your hand, sort of the mage that you have, your own cards, those artifacts, the places of power, monuments, all those things kind of combine. And so, and round over round, people are going to be drafting different artifacts from the center of the board. Places of power are permanent additions, and so are the monuments. So there's some that are permanent drafts and some that are, round by round drafts. And I just really like how this game is set up, and I like all of the options that it gives you for building a really cool scoring engine.
Yeah, I liked when we first played this game, I was very much a novice at this game, and I would still probably classify myself as a novice, but we would play with the drafting element, and that was, for me, it was a huge disadvantage because I wasn't very familiar with it, and we'd play games with yourself and with Richie, who were far more aware of the game, and it left me going like, why am I even playing? I would have a score of 3 points, and you guys would have 10 and 11 points, and I'd be like, this is dumb. But and I think it was you that suggested we just play some of the standard without the draft. And after I got used to it, then you're like, okay, you've had enough time to take the training wheels. Let's go back to the draft. And
right.
You, me, and Corey have been playing several games of this, and I'm still loose. I think I've won one, but I would have to check the app of accuracy to verify that. But I do a lot better. I don't end the game with 1 point. I end the game with far more points. I'm more of a contender. Someday I'll be somebody. But
you are somebody. Just not in that game.
Just not in that game. Yeah.
You were uninitiated, and now you are initiated.
There. That's a great description. Yes.
We are initiated, Bruce.
Have you played this, Andy?
I have not.
I think you would really like this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't played it.
I'm surprised you haven't played it because Richie and Dave really like this game.
I haven't played it because of Tenny.
Uh-oh. What happened there?
When he was going to teach us, and he's like, I want to teach you guys this game, and I really want to like it. And I'm like, I'm out. You've sold me, Nathan. And I haven't really had much of a desire to play it, so it's probably one I need to try.
Yeah. I can totally empathize with Nathan because he's probably played with people who were trying to do the draft. And so I would suggest to you, Nathan, that you try it without the draft till you can get your training wheels off too. You can be a real boy too. But so that's back to me. So that's a great game. I want to talk about a game that used to be my all-time favorite game, and I love this game.
I know what you're going to talk about.
And this is Firefly, the board game.
It is a good game.
It is a good game. And we talked recently about going back and touching on Star Wars Outer Rim because it kind of scratches all the same itches that Firefly brings. But Firefly was, for me, the original pick up and delivery, hire a crew, get the job done, and work through some of those objectives and those missions to complete and become Lord of all Londinium. This is something that I really love. And you have the open draft you have each of the locations where you can hire crew, you can buy gear, you can not hire weapons, you can buy weapons, and you can pick up items that are going to help you. That is all available. So if I go there the game is going to start with some of those items face up. But if I go there and I draw cards off of the face down deck, I'm going to draw those and I can pick, I can keep one of them. I can draw 3 cards and I can buy up to 2 of those. The other is going to go to the discard pile, which is an open market, to use your term, Douglas, or an open draft that is there to the remaining players, and so that is available at any time. It's information that's always open once that market has been created or populated. Then players can all dip their pool into there, and as long as they can get to that planet, and they can buy whatever's in the discard pile, as long as it's still there by the time they reach that planet. Firefly in general has just always, the theme sang to me, right? I was a huge fan of the Firefly TV series, and this is one of those few games that picked up that Firefly element and just infused it into this game. Every bit of this game gives you that Firefly feel. And for me, that was just something that I needed. Is when the series was canceled, this was the next best thing, right? You could pick it up and you could have your own series and your own show, and even Wash could survive.
Nice.
But I loved everything about this, and the fact that those open markets allow you, because this game does tend to take a little bit longer because you're waiting for players to take their actions on their turn, but this game does benefit the opportunity. So if I'm next in line and Douglas, you're taking your turn, I know I'm going to go to one of those markets, I can start looking through that market, unless there's a chance on your turn that you're going to be going there. So I can try to speed up the game, speed up my process by looking at the market and finding something that I'm going to want to buy. Or I can look at any of the markets to say, okay, maybe I want to go here next, or maybe I want to go there to try to get some of those elements that are going to help me be successful in the game. But Firefly was a phenomenal game. And the 10-year anniversary...
I would argue is.
Yes, you are correct. Is a phenomenal game.
I don't think it's lost much over the years.
No, yeah. And even with the 10-year anniversary set that gave it that nice big crate that it was in, although I already had that broken token crate that was amazing, that now I gifted to Andy so he can put his original set into that. But with the 10-year anniversary, it has little player boxes or trays that just have starting equipment, so you don't have to go through and fish stuff out. You can just say, here's your tray, that, and it has a beautiful mat if you got the mat. It's a huge mat.
Yeah, it has a big mat.
Yeah, and yeah, you need a huge table to play it on, but it
You can go
gives
pick
you a
one
spot.
up at Game Toppers.
A table, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, they don't have that mat. But no, a table, yes.
A table big enough to fit the mat.
Yeah. Minecraft would be great for it. It overlays my Watson a little bit, but Minecraft it'll work with.
Go get yourself a Minecraft.
Go get yourself a Minecraft. but with the Watson, I can put the dining leaves on, and it works like magic. So
Love that.
Oh, it's magic.
yeah. But anyways, that's enough of my gushing, oozing, shining. Go pick up Firefly, because it is shiny.
I'm just glad that we found out what game you were talking about at the beginning.
Instead of me dragging that out. Oh, by the way, I'm talking about this
Talking
game.
about Firefly.
After I've finished my whole thing, if you haven't guessed already, it's Firefly.
Yes.
Yep. Can't take the sky from Nathan.
No, you can't take this guy from me.
All right, so we have one of a really surprisingly enjoyable game. I guess, Nathan, you introduced us to this, and I think all of us purchased it, and then I bought the collector's edition when that kickstarted, but that is Project L.
Oh, yeah. I have the collector's edition as well.
And this has been a family favorite, not only just my immediate family, but I've taken it up and played this with my extended family, and has become an extended family favorite as well, to where we'd play it, and I'd have my nieces and nephews or my brothers and sisters-in-law asking me, hey, where did you get this? How can I get this game? This is great. Project L is awesome. So the drafting part of it is when you're drafting the puzzle tiles. So you get to pick puzzle tiles. There are 2 different kinds. There's going to be one that's more heavy on points, and then the ones that are going to give you more the pieces. And so there's black-backed ones and white-backed ones. 2 different rows that you get to draft from. You get to add them to your board. You can have up to 4, and you're going to be placing puzzle pieces on there using actions to place the puzzle pieces that you have acquired onto your puzzle boards that you're drafting. Once you complete one, you get to pull your puzzle pieces off. They go back to your pool. You gain any sort of reward for completing that puzzle. And then that opens up another slot for you to draft a tile on your next turn if you so choose. This game has been a ton of fun. There is quite a bit of strategy with the different types of puzzle pieces, the different actions you can take. That master action, right, where you can place a puzzle piece on every single one of your puzzles is amazing. But we have had so much fun with this. They have several expansions that have come out. They also have the new Square one. I have not played that yet.
Sierra has. And I was hoping she would have taught me before she left.
I know. Now she's gone. So we're going to have to wait a year and a half before she gets back so she can teach us. Or one of us is going to have to break down and read the rules.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a year and a half. Hopefully she hasn't forgot by then. But yeah, Project L is really fun. And yeah, obviously the drafting is an integral part of this because if you don't have puzzle tiles, you're not going to score any points or really play the game. So Project L.
So I'm just trying to do a quick research. Did the Square One expansion fund? I can't remember.
They ran that on Kickstarter, and it did seem to be running a little slow, but I think it did get there.
Did
I didn't even see it,
yeah.
Which surprises me, but I probably got neat.
It was sort of a all-in-one. They were rerunning everything. Project L Square One.
Yeah, and then there was an expansion that had some new stuff for Square One, but I can't remember if it.
Well, while you're looking that up, I am going to talk about Altiplano.
Great game.
It's an excellent game. This is a fantastic bag building game, and thematically you have kind of all these different plateaus that you're moving from, and each plateau kind of has a different specialty. But on many of those plateaus, you have the option of drafting some things. So, you know, you obviously have your typical things, your upgrades and those types of things, and orders. You can pick up some orders to score yourself some extra points if you can get the resources to fulfill those orders. But I think one of the best parts, one of the best sort of drafting aspects of Altiplano is the plateau where you can go to purchase all of your sort of village upgrades, which give you more locations to drop goods and take actions from. So everyone kind of starts off with an asymmetric board where you're going to be playing your resources out and taking certain actions. And by default, everybody has like sort of an asymmetric beginning thing, right? They have, I forget if it's like your village, your town house, or your village square or something like that, but it's everybody gets kind of one thing that makes them unique or asymmetric. But as the game goes, you can pick up sort of modifications for all of the different action spots on your main board. And by doing that, it really allows you to build a very custom engine, you know, where other people are maybe generating a ton of fish and then trading those fish in for, you know, something that's generating glass or whatever the case may be. Maybe you have, you know, a special something on your board that lets you just put some stuff out and pick up glass, or that allows you to be more efficient at gathering wood, or whatever the case may be. But that to me, I think, is one of the things that really sets Altiplano apart, is the way that it lets you customize your village and sort of customize the actions that you have available to you to put resources down and run that engine.
That's a fun game. It was one that I owned for a little bit. I ended up canceling, culling it.
Do you regret it?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that game.
I know. This means I totally need to try to play this again and see if I can change my mind. I'm not going to go buy it again, but I need to play.
Both Doug and Nathan own it. Oh, both Doug and I own it. Hi, I'm Nathan Holiday. You know, we've talked about this game quite a few times on the podcast, and it is, in fact, Doug, you just describing it makes me want to go home and play it because it's so good. I just wish the components were good.
I just wish the components.
They suck.
I just wish the game didn't suck.
Well, and I went through and 3D printed all new stuff for mine, and they have the Geek Up bits that you can buy.
Do they finally have Geek Up bits? I've looked. Yeah, and I haven't found them. Okay,
so I have acrylic tiles and 3D printed pieces, and now the quality of it's not an issue anymore.
I'm gonna have to buy the Geek Up bits. Do they come with? Can you get the Geek Up bits for your little boxes that you store everything in, or do you have to 3D print those?
That's a good question. I didn't see any for as far as the Geek Up bits go, but I did 3D print them. So they have some good like free models out there for that. So
all right, the game I want to talk about next is a game that I love, and I was first introduced to this game on BGA. So this is proof, Andy, that BGA is a good thing because it gets you introduced to new games.
Sorry, what was that?
He checked out.
He checked out BGA and he went, "What?"
I think I lost audio.
So PI is a game of deduction, one that I really like, unlike Alchemist, Andy.
You know, I think eventually, if we play it enough, I can convert you.
I hope so. I'm open to the opportunity. But in PI, you're
Private investigator?
no, but a gumshoe. So in PI, you're a gumshoe. You're trying to find out what.
And also a private investigator.
That's what a
It's
private
right-
investigator is.
It's right in the name.
Okay.
Okay, you're a gumshoe. Yes, I love it.
Gumshoe, a private investigator. You're trying to solve a crime and you're collecting clues. The way that the board is set up, you have a grid of 2 locations, followed by 3 locations, followed by 4 locations, then 3, and then 2. And on those locations, you're going to divvy out a suspect, a crime, and the location. And so you have those 3 informations that you're trying to solve. You're trying to identify the crime, you're trying to identify the location that the crime was committed, and you're trying to identify who the criminal was. So you're going to put out cards. There's an open draft that's there, and you're going to take a card from that open market, open drafting area, and you're going to lay that card out. I select this card. Then the player to my left is going to review that card because they have my answer key. They have the 3 cards that I'm looking for. And so they will look and they will first check to see, is that card that I drafted? So if I drafted Bubbles, who's one of the criminals, if I drafted Bubbles, then they're going to see, is Bubbles in that location where, is Bubbles my criminal? Yeah.
Yes.
So is Bubbles my criminal? They're going to check to see if it's that. And if it's that, they're going to put my circle token on Bubbles. If Bubbles is not the criminal, then they're going to look, is the criminal adjacent in one of those locations to Bubbles? And if they are, then they're going to put a little cube of my color on Bubbles. So that will tell me that I have to look in that section. Or if Bubbles is not the criminal and none of the locations around it contain the criminal, they're just going to say, you got no information, which is actually a ton of information because that usually eliminates a whole section of suspects or locations or crimes. And now there's the 15 locations. Is it 15? 4, 7, 13, 15, 17? There's the number of locations, and I think it's 17 locations, and then there is 15 crimes, and then there are 13 criminals. So some of those locations are not going to have crimes, and some of them are not going to have locations. They're just going to have a card that'll come up and say, no crime or no. It doesn't say no criminal. It says something though. But anyways,
it's suspect. I
no
believe.
suspect. Yeah, I think that's what it is. And so you're wanting to try to negotiate that information because you're going to play this game over 3 mini rounds, and you're going to calculate your total score over all 3 mini rounds. But you also have, is it 5 investigators?
Yes.
5 investigators that you can use over all 3 rounds. And so the investigator is, I can pick a location. I'm going to put my investigator there. Then the player to my left is going to say, is that location one of my locations, or is it adjacent? Is that criminal? Is that suspect one of the suspects, or are they adjacent? And is that crime one of the crimes? If not, is it adjacent? So it gives me a bunch of information. Sometimes it overloads me with a bunch of information because, I can get like 1 cube and I'm not sure, is it the location, the crime, or the suspect? And so you have to try to noodle your way through that. But there's so much that this game provides that just really excites me. I really like this, and I enjoy playing this game considerably. It's a game that's out of print, so if you find it somewhere, that's great. I found a copy on the BGG Market, and somebody had a copy sealed, and I'm like, sold. And then when it came to me, United States Post Office was kind enough to jab it with something that went almost right through the package. But they were nice enough to miss any of the components. So with it being out of print, I was not about to try to send it back and get a claim. I was going to take it and say I have my copy of PI. And I do. And I really like this game. Doug, you and I playing games online. Andy, have you played this one with us?
Yeah, several times. This is one I have. I'm going to put my Nathan pants on and say I have a similar experience to this as you do to Alchemist, yeah.
Yeah. I can accept that.
It's one where
Can you?
I guess I should pay closer attention to the rules when they're it's being taught, because every time I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. Where's my phone?
Where's my phone? Yeah. And this is a game that Doug and we love playing online because there is playing in person, there is the latitude of error, right? Like I'm the player to your left.
Sure.
I could totally make a mistake and say, oh, yeah.
Whoops,
Like
sorry.
put a cube out when I should have put a circle out, or
Yeah.
oh, I missed this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are some perks to BGA.
Yes,
The few that there are, maybe there's one.
There's one. Yeah, but it's
I would love for someone to just make a little app for this.
Yeah, no kidding.
You could do it. It wouldn't be bad. Just a little helper app.
Yep.
But
So that's PI. I love this game. I highly recommend this game. Everybody should own this game. Everybody should play this game. Everybody should love PI. Back to you, Andy.
Okay. All right. So one of our favorite games that we have played over the last couple of years has I think a fun drafting element if they would have just gotten the lid right. And that is Planet Unknown. So I love the way this is done. I love the way the drafting is done in this game. You have a Lazy Susan with 2 different depots of different shaped tiles, polyomino tiles, and whoever the active player is, they spin that Lazy Susan until they get to the area of the tiles they want to choose from, and that's going to line up with the little arrow that corresponds to all of the other players. The active player chooses, they get pick the tile they want, and then everybody else chooses based on the depot that lines up with their arrow. You pick one of those 2 tiles, you place it on your planet, and you move your tracks up accordingly. It is really fun. If you guys haven't played this, you need to play it, and maybe just do the standard, everybody plays the same board the first play, but then immediately when you play the second play, move over to the asymmetrical sides of the board.
Yeah.
You have a asymmetrical planets and asymmetrical company sides that you're going to play different company that will have asymmetry on top of that. And it's really interesting how some of those planets will interact with the company that you choose. And so we kind of sort of draft those as well. But most of the time, I guess we did throw out 2 and pick 1. But the drafting in this is cool. It is one of those where that can be aggravating when someone picks something that you really, really don't want, whether it's the types of tiles they are, what's printed on them, or the shape of the tiles that
especially later in the game.
Especially later in the game. But that's all part of the fun, right? This is an awesome game. I have played this, I don't even know how many times, and I still love playing it. It's one that never gets old, and I highly recommend it. It's great.
This is one that's a little interesting when you play it 2 players, because when you play it more than 2 players, you can spin that Lazy Susan, right?
Sure.
In a 2-player game, it just rotates clockwise.
Right. You don't get as much freedom with your choices.
Yeah. And you don't have the option to play with those goals that go between players.
Right.
Which is the first time I played it 2-player, I was a little taken back. Doug and I were playing it out on BGA, and I was like, well, this is dumb. They don't even have the game right.
Fix your game, BGA.
Yeah. So I was on Andy's boat for a minute, like, yeah, let's be BGA haters. But after a review of the rules, in fact, I think it was Doug that actually pointed it out, said, hey, quit being a whiner. That's the 2-player rules.
those are the 2-player rules for sure.
And but yeah, Planet Unknown is a game that is super high on my list. It's a game that I find it very funny how quickly we were praising this inception of this lid that was coming in the Supermoon expansion.
Don't call it the Superman expansion.
Yeah.
It doesn't deserve, well, the expansion's great, but that lid.
But yeah, it turned into Superman 3.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah, no, and there is options to fix that You can 3D print some stuff, but Planet Unknown is a phenomenal game.
It's really good. It is. Very, very good. Okay, so Nathan,
Sir.
a game that you have played and I have played. I don't know if Andy has played this one yet with us. The Gang.
I have not.
I love this game.
Do you like the game? The Gang?
I do.
Okay. And another game that I think both of you have played, Seven Wonders Duel.
Yes.
Yes.
You both like those games. You like Seven Wonders Duel and you like The Gang.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you both will really, really like Truffle Shuffle.
This is one I was interested in trying. It kind of had some sour reviews, didn't it?
Oh, I don't think so.
Maybe
my wife and I really like playing this game. Actually, Andy, I think you did play this one with us.
Did I?
I think you played this
Sounds
at
familiar.
our house.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah. So this is a game where you have a large display of cards where some you can see face up and some you can see face down, kind of like in Seven Wonders Duel. And what you are doing is drafting those cards on your turn in order to fulfill orders of chocolates. And you fulfill orders of chocolates by creating poker hands, kind of like you do in The Gang.
I've totally played this game.
And it's awesome.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is a really, really fun game. Nathan, I think this is one that Cheryl would like. I think this is one Sabrina would like. I actually think that this is a fantastic little game. And the fact that it is you can play this up to 4 players. It's not just a 2-player only experience. I think makes it all the better. Very simple. This is a fast game. It's easy to teach. It's easy to sort of grok and figure out, and plays really fast. So it's definitely, I think, in the filler category. I don't think this is going to be your feature game at all, but I think it's clever. It comes in a small box. The price is right. And I don't think you'd be disappointed in this at all.
Awesome. I agree. It was a great game.
I would very much want to try it now. With that gleaming, shining recommendation.
I think you would like it. I do. I think you would very much enjoy this one, Nathan.
All right. Well, I need to get it to the table. Another one that's really interesting that has a mechanic that is, it has several factors that really make this game kind of interesting for me. And this is Far Away. And Far Away is you have an open market of cards that you're going to be drafting from. You have 3 cards in your hand. You're going to play 1 card during your turn, and then you're going to draft from the market to refill your hand up to 3. And what you're going to do is you're going on an adventure. So you're laying out your path. And then once your path is all laid out, then you're going to return home following your same path. And then you're going to score your path as you're coming backwards. So as you're laying cards out, you want to put out icons that are going to match what you're going to put out at the end. But you don't know what that's going to be yet. And if you put if all the cards are numbered 1 to 99, and if you put out a card and you put out the next card is higher, then you can draw some, and I forget what they're called, but you get some bonus cards that you can put on top of your board that are kind of always active. So if they have icons on it, they're always active, so that when you reach the end, you can say, okay, I have 3 cards up here and they have these 3 icons on it, or they have the 3 night icons, the day icons, any of that information that I'm seeking for in my path home, I can use those at any time. But if I don't have those, I start at the end of my path. And if my last card says I need 3 of these icons, well, if I don't have 3 of those icons scored already, then I score 0 for that. And by scoring already, I start at card number 8 and I score that card. I score all the icons on there. I score any points that are on there. And then I go to card 7. And then card 7 will allow me to look back at card 8. Card 6 will let me look back at both cards, and so on until I get all the way home. So I have to plan that. So I want to put some of my bigger cards in position 1, 2, and 3, and then plan out for the remaining 5, 6 cards that I lay out that path to return. Or I'm trying to press my luck and draw some of those cards that are going to help me, that are going to provide those icons on the way. Very interesting mechanic. There's a new expansion for it that I haven't picked up quite yet. I have it on order, and I'm looking very much forward. I'm very much looking forward to that, and to kind of spice up this game a little bit more. And but just an interesting game. Doug, you've played this with me, right? Andy, have you played this?
I think so.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember having to think backwards.
Yeah.
As you're playing the game, because you have to really plan for that path backwards to make sure you have your scoring correctly and you have all your prerequisites to, it's an interesting game. There's no doubt about it. It kind of twists your brain a little bit.
Yeah. And that's what I really like about it.
I do too.
It makes it so that it just provides a whole different feel. And I'm very much looking forward to, I think it's called The People of Far Away. Let me look that up just real quick. The People from Below is the name of the expansion. And it's just a small little pack that's going to go into your game. So
yeah, I've played this once with you as I'm looking at the game, and I very much enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of exactly what we just talked about, where you really have to pay attention to what you're playing down and in what order you're playing those with scoring in mind. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
We played this, I want to say it was New Year's.
It could be.
I think we played this over New Year's.
Yep.
Okay, so I just looked it up. I have not played this one.
Oh, you have not played that? Well, we need to fix this. It's a 15 to 30 minute game and 2 to 6 players, very much accessible and provides a challenge that is meaningful.
Very cool.
And that is Far Away.
All right, so we have been talking for quite some time now about this. So I just had a few that I wanted to just do some honorable mentions on as we're getting late in the episode here. Thunderstone, anything Thunderstone, Dominion. I love both of those games. Those were hot games when they first came out for our game nights. We played the heck out of both of those.
Yes, we did.
And so much fun. We had, Ticket to Ride Europe. That's a family favorite of ours. We like the Europe Ticket to Ride more so than just the regular Ticket to Ride. Dice Forge is another one that we have played a ton in our home. Clank Catacombs, all the Clank games are going to fit into this category. Star Wars, the deck building game. My son and I have played this a ton. We played this when we went to last November. We went down to Arizona to a Arizona Cardinals Bears game, and we played the Star Wars deck building game a ton in the airport, both going out and flying home, and then in the hotel. We played this so much, and I had converted my son over to loving this game.
That's great.
My wife, not so much. She beat me, but she didn't like it. Gizmos is another one that gets played a lot at our house. There is a deck builder that I can very rarely get anybody to play with me, and that's Nightfall.
I'm one of those people that will play it. We haven't played it. I used to own it, and I ran into some of the same issues that people are just whining, and some of those same people were the same people you played, Dave, that were just whiny about the mechanics of the game. Yeah. And but I actually really enjoyed this game. No one would play it with me, so I ended up culling it. So I'm glad that you have it. I would love to play this game again.
This is one of the few I actually could get my wife to play. It is a little bit hard to wrap your head around exactly how everything works, but once you have it figured out, it's really not complicated. But it's fun. It's it's a Halloween themed. It's the werewolves, vampires. So we usually bust this out during Halloween time frame, but it falls into this category. Queen Dominoes, Bootleggers. Last time we played Bootleggers, I think
that was such a
don't think I've laughed that hard since. So that was a fun playthrough of that game. And then the last one I want to talk about is just the Star Trek deck building game. So there's the Next Generation, and then we also have the original series that fall into that. But awesome games. This is obviously a very popular mechanic for us.
Yeah. Ton of games on there.
Market and open drafting. Yeah, it's one that I know I like because I have a ton of games that fall into this.
Yeah. All right, Douglas, do you have any that you want to close out with?
Just again, some rapid fire mentions. If we could go on for another hour or two, I would have talked about Cloud City, Witcher: The Old World, Revive, Wonderland's War, all of the Spaniverse games, right? Finspan, Wormspan, Wingspan, 51st State, Scarface, 1920, Waste Knights, Rurik, Dawn of Kiev, and Champions of Midgard. All games that have some, I think, interesting open draft mechanisms. All do it just a little bit different. And I think all worthy of mention, although none of them quite made my top 5 list. So
yeah. Aquatica. Thank you. Aquatica is one that it came on BGA, and so it gave me hey, let's try this again. And I have really loved playing this. And then you brought with the Coral Reef expansion, Aquatica was a great game that I was very much excited to get to. Barren Park is a great drafting game where you have the open market of the polyomino shapes that you're trying to put into your zoo, your bear park. Bunny Kingdom is a fun game that I, for some reason, can't get anybody to play with me.
Probably because its name is bunny kingdom.
I get that. And I think you are absolutely right. And everybody's like, I'm out. But this is very much a great game of trying to math out how many bunnies you have, or not how many bunnies you have, but how many resources you have in a region and how many towers you have. What was I just going to kind of compare it to? Nope, can't compare it to that. But it's a great little game. It's something I would very much enjoy playing again. BGA has an implementation. I threw it out on our Discord channel, asked if anybody wanted to play. I got crickets back. Probably because everybody thinks, oh, bunny. It's not killer bunnies. It's not killer bunnies.
Well, it's because killer bunnies ruined anything with the word bunny in it.
I think you are right. Spot on. New ones that I've been playing, Castle Combo. I really enjoy Castle Combo. Middle Ages is another great game where you're drafting those tiles to put out. I've been playing a ton of this with Josh and Mike on BGA. I mean, you talk about Thunderstone and
Dominion.
You talk about Thunderstone and Dominion. Another one that fits right into that same group is Eminent Domain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I really like Eminent Domain. Festival is a very fun, simple game. And I'm surprised none of us talked about Force Shuffle.
That's true. Force Shuffle's great.
Yeah.
We played the heck out of that game.
It's kind of losing its fan flav for me, but it's still an excellent game. And there was one, Loco Momo is another simple animal placement game that is you're drafting those animals, and depending on what animal you're drafting depends on what other tiles you can pull into it. Great little game. And then of course we've just been introduced to Orleans, and I am loving Orleans.
Orleans is great.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Yeah. And another one that, last one I'm going to mention, super great one, that's a very simple game, Pixies. Pixies is one I'm playing a ton of with my wife. I'm playing a ton of it with Jody, and it's a great game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and very simple, but very well done. And that's Pixies. And that's what I want to end my list with, unless I see something else. Yep, I'm going to end it with that.
Excellent. And on that note, until next time.
We'll see you picking out your favorite games out of that open drafting market at the game table.
Thank you for listening and being a part of Meeple Nation. If you would be so kind as to follow, subscribe, share, and rate or review this podcast, it really helps to spread the fun. You can be more involved in supporting the podcast by joining the nation at patreon.com/Meeple Nation, or you can find a link at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. And while you're there, look at all our extra content. There are links to all our past episodes, a wide variety of blogs, pictures from our Instagram feed, and bios for all the hosts and our awesome bloggers. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all under Meeple Nation. If you would like to chat with the hosts or other members of the nation, you can join our Facebook group, Meeple Nation Off Air. We hope to see you again at a game night, a con, or maybe a suspense-driven evening of Werewolf. Thank you for listening and supporting Meeple Nation, and stay tuned for next week's episode.
Thank you so much for listening. We very much want to thank our patrons who help keep the podcast running. I personally want to thank my co-hosts for all the help they provide with both content here on the podcast, in addition to what we have available on our website. Without them, the podcast would not happen. If you too would like to support the podcast, you can join the nation at patreon.com/Meeple_Nation. Or you can find a link to Patreon at the top of our webpage, meeplenation.com. If you have any questions, comments, or games you feel should be on our radar, you can always reach us at meeplenation@gmail.com. We can't wait to hear from you. I am grateful to Doug and Andy who helped me edit episodes, and I want to thank James and Kim Clark who do the editing on our blogs and on our webpage, which can be found at meeplenation.com. We want to thank Brain Detergent for our music. If you want to find more from him, you can follow his links that can be found on our webpage, or simply search for Brain Detergent on YouTube to find more of his tracks. Thank you again for listening and being part of the Meeple Nation community.